Hello, everyone. My name is Natasha Belfer, and this is Becoming Her Anyways. So, in this episode, I'm actually going to talk about the primary reason why I actually started this podcast, the topic that has actually motivated me to create this. You are not your external environment. Now, I know that's quite contrary to what you normally hear, especially, psychologists like behaviorists, they would say that is so wrong. You are your environment. Now, listen, I grew up in a very difficult household. Right? I was actually in two different households. One of them was with my narcissistic father. The other one was with my mother. Now, I grew up in a lot of conflict because my parents did not get along. They could not co-parent. They couldn't even email each other. That's how bad that conflict was. But when I was with my father, I was so isolated. Like, he had a lot of, to be honest, I don't really like calling him my father. I don't really like calling him anything. Unfortunately, that is what he is. So essentially, he had a lot of mental health issues and he put those on me. Now, I was very afraid of him. Like, I walked on eggshells. I did everything that I thought I was supposed to do to get him to not rage, which proved an impossible task because narcissists only see their children and whoever, honestly, like their partners, as extension of themselves. So they don't see you as you're an individual being. Now, at a young age, I did not know this, obviously, because I was just a child. You just want your father's love and approval. When I was 12, I realized that wasn't going to happen because of the abuse, right? He was very emotionally abusive. However, like I said, the point of this podcast is not for me to go, oh, I have so much trauma and now, I can't do this, I can't do that. Listen, your trauma can be explanations for certain parts of you. For example, I do say I have an anxious attachment because of the way I was raised because, I had two parents that were struggling, right? But I would never, ever say that my life is going to be bad because of that. That's where this comes in, right? Listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from. Because as soon as you step outside your house, it doesn't matter. You could be from the wealthiest family. You could be from the healthiest family. No one will know. You step outside your house, not a single person will ever know. And that is where your power really lies. That is where everything's going to change for you. I promise. Listen, if you're in a situation now, even now, where you're still struggling with dysfunctional family, listen, I'm going to tell you the best ways to make sure that you can survive. That not even that you can survive, that you can thrive. Because listen, it doesn't matter. I've known people who grew up in massive houses, who have wonderful parents who are together and who, communicate and who love each other and who are in a happy marriage. And their children were so depressed. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I could not believe it. I was like, you guys had the dream that I always wanted and you guys are depressed. It doesn't matter. Listen, there are people who come from healthy families who are failing life, who are selfish, who are arrogant, who are spoiled and who believe that the world revolves around them. You are not disadvantaged. Listen, yes, obviously, sometimes it can be a bit harder for you than it will be for other people, but you know what? It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it is your responsibility what you do with that trauma. You can't blame these people anymore. If you have abusive father, mother, or, whatever, like, you can't blame them anymore. If you have left that situation, or even if you haven't, but if you act out outside your home, that's on you, babe. There's something you could do. Yes, obviously, we could all blame this person. We could all go, oh, this person, but we cannot have an external locus of control. We can't do that. We can't afford that. We can't blame everyone. We have to have some accountability and think, okay, yes, I grew up in different conditions, but how do I change that? How do I evolve? Now, listen, what I did was, obviously, I left that parent. Like, sometimes you have to do that. I don't know, obviously, your guys' situations, but if you have an abusive parent, listen, don't let anyone tell you that they're your only father or that, you're being cold. Don't ever let anyone tell you, because if a child has to cut off their parent because of their abuse, that is not the child's fault. And I do not care. I do not care. Blood means nothing if someone has abused you. Right. Anyway, in this podcast today, this episode, we are going to talk about how we can overcome it. Listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You could walk out of your house after being screamed at and you could still be normal. Now, that's obviously awful. That's very unfortunate. If that has happened to you, then that's very sad. But we can't have pity for ourselves. We can't do that. We can't afford this. We have no time in this life to feel sorry for ourselves. We have to keep going. Listen, right. First thing I'm going to tell you, your education. Your education is so important. You know why? Because one day you're going to go to uni. One day you're going to be 18 years old and you're going to have finished your A-levels, right? Because you're going to have done those and you're going to go to uni. And you are going to get go to, a faraway uni, move out and start your own life. I suppose there's also other paths, I suppose, like, getting BTECs, but whatever. Get your education, get your degree, get your A-levels, get your GCSEs, get those in the bank. Because you know why? Without those, it's going to be very difficult for you to move out. You need to get out. Okay? Listen, the best way to do this, the best way to study, in my opinion, is, especially if at home, like, it's not a studying environment, like maybe your house isn't that big, maybe, obviously as well, like psychologically, you're conditioned to want to relax in your house. Like have you ever noticed when you come home, like you're always tired, but when you go to school, like you don't, like work is just natural to you. It's because in different places, we are conditioned to different behaviors. My advice, best advice I ever had, find a cafe. Now, I had a gym membership and the gym had a cafe. So this cafe was like exclusive. So that's what I studied for like literally 3 years. I went there every day because I could leave my stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people might not have that privilege. Like I said, I was also very privileged growing up, but I also had some difficulties. But at the end of the day, listen, if you can't study at home, you need to study outside. Go and find a cafe. Find your perfect cafe, right? Also, I'm going to say, if you're in an abusive household, don't come home until absolutely necessary. So obviously, I left my abusive household when I was 12. But growing up, if my mum was working, she got stressed and she would take it out on me. And I love my mum, but sometimes she can't regulate her emotions. So, especially when she's working. So what I would do is I would leave for school at like 7:45 in the morning. I would not come back till 7 in the evening because I would go to the cafe that I was revising at. And that was amazing because by the time I came home, she wasn't working. And I would see her a bit and then I'd go to bed. Listen, if you have arguments with your parents constantly, if you don't really get along with them, because that happens, maybe they're not bad people, you're not a bad person, it just, you can't really get along in the same space for a long time. Don't come home. Stay out, go and revise, go and study at a cafe or, go, like, you need to create as well a family outside of your house. That's what I did. Find people who didn't experience bad things. Listen, when you are from a troubled childhood, you are immediately drawn to other people who also experience that. But that's wrong. Okay, we cannot just all be in groups of people who had bad things happen to them because then we normalize it. Okay, obviously, yes, having 1 or 2 friends that understand you, which is fine. But to be honest, if you come from a difficult household, don't be friends with people who also do. I'm not saying like discriminate against them, but I'm saying like try to look for people who didn't have that because those people will put sanity in your mind. Those people will make you feel so much like more healthy, When I was growing up, I had friends who never experienced trauma. And so I was able to see, I was able to develop in a very similar way to what I would have done if I didn't have that trauma. Obviously, guys, you can't erase it, and you're going to have to accept this trauma. But honestly, guys, therapy, but also ChatGPT is amazing for therapy, guys. I do a whole episode on that, but it's really amazing. Literally just speak, because in this life, we have no one to blame but ourselves. If you are failing at something, you cannot go, oh, it's because of this person. Listen, yes, obviously you have obstacles in life, but we cannot blame everyone and everything because you'll never change that way. You'll never get what you want. Yeah, of course, everyone could have a victim mindset, but not everyone can experience the worst pain and then still thrive. No one cares about those people who just go, oh, my life is so bad. I hate my life. I'm always sad. I'm so depressed. Yes, obviously, you might get some sympathy a bit, but then you're going to be forgotten about. No one's going to remember you. Do you know people will remember those people who go, yeah, she had a really terrible childhood, but she is now a lawyer. She now, has a husband that she loves. She now has children. Those are the people that win. Okay, guys, we have no time for victim mentality. Victim mentality is not attractive. If I'm with someone and they start going on about how bad their life is, do you think I'm going to fucking care? Obviously, there's a difference between venting. If something happens, so obviously I'm going to listen to them. But I don't like to be around those people who constantly go, I'm so ugly or whatever. Okay, if you believe that, fix it. Do something. Why are you telling me? It's because these people want attention. These people don't want accountability. And I'm not for that life. I'm sorry. If you want someone to sugarcoat things, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. Okay? I have lost friends because I will not validate their bad actions because I believe they deserve better, Anyway, back to the point. Listen, it doesn't matter. Don't let anyone tell you that just because you came from a difficult family, just because your parents didn't go to university, just because, whatever obstacle you've overcome, don't let anyone take away your potential from you because everyone has potential, guys. Everyone. But most people will not reach it. Okay? And I'm not saying you have to be a millionaire. I'm not saying you have to be a CEO, but I'm saying focus on your education. Okay? Be outside the home. Revise, guys. And also, learn to regulate your emotions, Watch motivational videos, allow yourself to develop. don't ever allow your parents to be an excuse about why you can't do this and why you can't do that. Because I will not accept it, guys. I'm sorry. I have had my difficult, experiences. But at the end of the day, I know what I want. Guys, I am going to date a man. He's going to have no trauma. He's going to be smart. He's going to be very sweet, very kind, very gentle, very emotionally available. If I do not find that man, I will rather be single for the rest of my life, guys. Also, don't date people who also have difficult situations. Listen, guys. Honestly, this is going to be so controversial, but men who come from difficult backgrounds, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, are doomed to repeat it. And I'm sorry, and I know obviously it's true for women as well, but literally every single man I know that has issues is a delinquent, does drugs, or can't have relationships or whatever. They have issues in their families. And listen, guys, obviously it's not fair and it's not nice, but at the end of the day, those people have chosen to carry on. I feel I don't know why, but do you guys ever realize that women are so much more likely to recover from childhood trauma? Men will never ever forget about it, but women are able to move on and move past it, which I find very interesting. Honestly, for me, because I came from a difficult background, I will not date someone with a difficult background. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, to whoever that offends. Unless, I suppose, you went to therapy, but to be honest, I think it's for me, I have to. Because, guys, I have generational trauma to heal, okay? I don't have time to help someone else with their trauma. Listen, if you come from a nice background, date someone else from a difficult background, that's fine. Maybe you can be their sanity, but if you come from a difficult background, guys, don't date people from difficult backgrounds, because two people who come from difficult backgrounds, how are they going to know how to be? How are they going to learn from each other? You need someone who can guide you. You need someone who can teach you how to be, just by example. You need, if you're going to have children with someone, you need that person to know what it's like to have a stable family, so you can also create a stable family for yourself. That's the truth. But like I said, guys, honestly, your external environment does not determine you. And if you believe that it does, then you're the issue. Okay? You have to take responsibility for your life. Guys, you have to take accountability. Okay? We cannot just sit here and go, oh, it's this person's fault, it's this person's fault. We can't do that because we don't have time in this life. We have to be getting up, going to the gym, going to Pilates. We have to be doing stuff. We can't just be sitting around going, oh no, I'm such a victim. No one cares, guys. No. Okay? I don't care where you came from. If you leave your house, no one will know. No one will know. Guys, act normal. Make good friendships, be a kind, nice person. Don't ever fall for that trap of generational trauma. Don't allow yourself to repeat the cycle. Be the cycle breaker, Go outside, make friends with people. Be kind to people, be understanding and loving to people. I'm not saying, let yourself be disrespected, but I'm saying go outside and show compassion. And don't ever allow anyone to tell you just because you came from this family. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what family you came from. It doesn't matter, guys. Literally, there are people who came from healthy families and like I said, they're not doing shit with their life. So what excuse do you have? Okay, you guys say, oh, I wish I had that family, but don't do that. Don't ask these questions because at the end of the day, you didn't have that family and it's okay. It's not your fault. It's like entering the lottery, but it doesn't mean that you can't create. Listen, guys, honestly, my biggest advice to you, make a family outside of your house. Find sane, healthy-minded friends that didn't go through trauma. Okay? Literally, make a family outside your house. Don't be at home. Maybe find a job, Get some money. Get independent from them. When you're 18, move out. Go to university. Get a job. Guys, you got this, okay? I don't want to hear any excuses, okay? This podcast is not for the people who are going to go, oh no, I'm so sad, I'm so, underprivileged. Listen, guys, whoever you are, there's always someone out there who has less than you, okay? What's your excuse then? Guys, thank you so much for listening. This is Natasha Belfort, and this is Becoming Her Anyways. Thank you so much.